When it comes to prepping, one of the biggest mistakes new preppers make is falling into the trap of flashy, overpriced tactical gear. The word tactical gets slapped on everything these days: backpacks, flashlights, vests, pens, shovels, even coffee mugs, and suddenly the price tag triples. But just because something looks like it came from a military movie set doesn't mean it's practical, durable, or worth your money in a real-world emergency. In fact, many of these so-called tactical items are nothing more than glorified fashion accessories that fall apart when you actually need them. The truth is, survival doesn't care how cool you look. What matters is reliability, functionality, and value. For example, a basic canvas backpack from a military surplus store might outlast and outperform a brand new $300 tactical bag with dozens of unnecessary zippers, Velcro patches, and plastic clips that break under pressure. It's the same with clothing. A rugged, second-hand flannel and waterproof jacket will serve you far better in a storm than a $150 operator-grade hoodie designed more for Instagram than survival. Another common waste is tactical knives. Many beginners get excited about giant blades with serrated edges and hollow handles, thinking they've scored the ultimate survival tool. But those knives are often made of cheap steel and break when used for real tasks like batoning wood or cutting rope. A smaller, full-tang fixed blade knife made from high-carbon steel will do the job far better and cost less. And don't even get started on all the tactical accessories, mall webbing everywhere, drop leg holsters for people who have never trained, and gloves that look special forces approved but can't even grip wet objects properly. The harsh truth: gear is only as good as the skills that back it up. A prepper with a $50 knife and proper training will survive longer than someone with a $500 knife and no idea how to use it. The prepping world is full of marketing traps, and tactical gear is one of the biggest. Don't waste your money trying to look like a Navy SEAL. Instead, invest in gear that works, fits your needs, and has been tested in the field. Go simple, go durable, and focus on building skills rather than building a costume. Survival isn't a fashion show. It's about staying alive, staying prepared, and staying smart with your resources. Choose wisely. Another area where many preppers waste money is on overpriced, fancy survival food kits. These prepackaged, vacuum-sealed buckets often come with shiny marketing promises: 25-year shelf life, chef-inspired recipes, feeds a family of 4 claims. But the reality rarely lives up to the hype. Many of these kits contain a lot of filler foods: pasta, rice, sugary drinks, or powdered milk, and not nearly enough protein, fiber, or essential nutrients to keep you going in a true long-term survival situation. The idea of grabbing a couple of food buckets and feeling ready is tempting, especially for those new to prepping. The packaging is clean, the portions seem generous, and the convenience is appealing. But when you break down the cost per calorie and per gram of protein, many of these emergency food kits don't hold up. You're paying a premium for branding, plastic buckets, and a false sense of security. And once you try to live off these rations for even a few days, you may realize they taste bland, lack variety, or leave you feeling constantly hungry. In contrast, building your own food storage system using store-bought pantry items is not only cheaper, it's often healthier and more versatile. Dried beans, canned meats, oats, rice, flour, peanut butter, salt, honey, and dehydrated vegetables can last for years if stored properly and offer far more nutritional bang for your buck. Plus, you know exactly what's in your stockpile, can rotate items easily, and adapt your meals to taste and dietary needs. For example, you can make stews, soups, or bread with minimal ingredients, something most fancy food kits don't allow. Another trap is relying too heavily on MRE meals ready to eat. While they do have their place, especially for bug-out bags or short-term emergencies, they're not ideal for long-term survival. They're heavy, expensive, high in sodium, and not designed for weeks or months of use. Stockpiling cases of MRE might feel like solid prepping, but you'll be spending hundreds of dollars on food that's difficult to digest over time and likely to become a morale killer when variety and comfort matter most. You also need to consider your specific family needs. Some food kits don't account for allergies, dietary restrictions, or children's taste preferences. Buying them in bulk without testing or reading the ingredients list could be a costly mistake. And in a crisis, finding out your kids won't touch the pasta primavera or that you can't digest half of what's in your kit can be a morale and energy drain. Smart prepping means thinking practically and sustainably. Instead of blowing your budget on commercial food kits that make big promises, build a pantry that works for you, your family, and your climate. Learn to cook with shelf-stable ingredients. Practice rotating stock. And always ask, am I buying peace of mind or real usable nourishment? Another item that often drains a prepper's budget without delivering true value is excessive or gimmicky tactical gear. The moment someone steps into the world of preparedness, it's easy to get swept up in the marketing of tactical backpacks, high-tech vests, military-style belts, weapon attachments, and so-called tactical accessories that look like something out of a video game. But in reality, many of these items are more about aesthetics than functionality, and they can end up collecting dust in your closet while draining hundreds or even thousands of dollars from your wallet. The problem isn't with gear itself. Good equipment is essential, but too many preppers focus on gear that looks intimidating or cool instead of prioritizing items that are durable, multi-purpose, and comfortable for extended use. A $200 tactical backpack with 10 hidden compartments may sound impressive, but if it's uncomfortable to carry over long distances or made of low-quality materials, it won't serve you well during an evacuation. Similarly, plate carriers, mall rigs, or excessive pouches may make you look like a movie hero, but in a real-life bug-out scenario, they can slow you down, make you a target, or simply become impractical due to their weight and bulk. Another area of overspending is on unnecessary knife collections or overly specialized tools. While every prepper should have a solid fixed blade survival knife, some people fall into the trap of buying multiple combat knives, throwing knives, or ultra-expensive blades designed for niche uses they'll never encounter. What you truly need is one or two reliable, easy-to-sharpen knives, a multi-purpose multi-tool, and maybe a folding pocket knife for convenience. That's it. Anything more starts to move from necessity to hobbyist indulgence. Night vision goggles, tactical watches, body armor, and expensive optics might be useful in specific high-threat scenarios, but they are often overkill for the average person preparing for blackouts, economic downturns, natural disasters, or basic civil unrest. Plus, these items can draw attention when the goal in most survival situations is to remain low, key, and unnoticed. Flashy gear not only adds unnecessary weight but can make you a target for theft or confrontation. Instead of investing in gear designed for a battlefield, focus on practical clothing and tools. Durable hiking boots, weather-resistant outerwear, layered clothing systems, and a well-packed go bag that's personalized to your terrain and climate will serve you far better. Simple gear, when tested and trusted, will outperform flashy tools in real-world scenarios every time. Finally, the best investment isn't in things, it's in training and skill. A $500 bushcraft knife is useless if you don't know how to use it. A tactical vest won't help if you can't carry it for miles. Knowledge, adaptability, and hands-on practice are what truly make gear valuable. So before you buy the next trendy piece of kit, ask yourself, will this help me survive, or just look like I can? Another commonly overhyped and unnecessary category in prepping is specialized or exotic food items marketed as survival essentials. While food storage is undeniably crucial, many people waste large sums of money on overpriced freeze, dried gourmet meals, novelty MRE meals ready to eat, or prepper food buckets that look impressive on the surface but fail to deliver nutritional value, taste, or practicality over time. These impulse buys often stem from panic or slick advertising that plays on fear, not logic. One of the biggest pitfalls is purchasing food buckets from popular survival brands that promise 30 days of meals for one person, only to discover later that they're loaded with empty calories, sugars, and starches, and are incredibly low in protein or healthy fats. Sure, they might technically keep you alive, but they won't fuel your body or maintain your energy levels in a demanding survival situation. If your emergency food doesn't sustain you physically and mentally, it's not worth the high price tag. In many cases, it would be far more effective and affordable to build your own long-term food supply using items from your local grocery store. Another wasteful purchase is novelty survival food like emergency pizza kits, dessert buckets, or gourmet beef stroganoff. While they may offer temporary morale boosts, these products are usually overpriced and take up precious storage space that could be filled with more essential staples like rice, beans, oats, powdered milk, canned vegetables, peanut butter, and shelf-stable proteins like tuna or Spam. These types of everyday food items are familiar, cost-effective, nutritionally balanced, and easily rotated into your regular diet to prevent waste. Also, many preppers fall into the trap of storing food they don't normally eat, or that requires extensive preparation they're not familiar with, like grinding wheat berries or cooking with dehydrated ingredients they've never touched before. If you haven't tried cooking with the foods you're storing, you're setting yourself up for trouble. When a crisis hits, it's no time for experimentation. You need to know what you're doing with the food you've got, and you need to actually like eating it. Taste fatigue in a long-term situation can lower morale and lead to food waste. It's also easy to overlook water needs while focusing on food. A pantry full of dry emergency food won't help if you haven't prepared a way to cook it or hydrate it. Some meals require a lot of clean water to prepare, which becomes a serious issue in a grid-down scenario. So always assess food not just by shelf life or branding, but by water requirements, ease of cooking, and actual dietary value. Finally, remember, prepping isn't about impressing others with how fancy your supplies look on a shelf. It's about practical, sustainable solutions. Skip the overpriced survival food kits unless you've carefully vetted them. Instead, build a thoughtful, balanced pantry of real, usable food you know how to prepare and enjoy eating, even if the grid never goes down. That's true preparedness. Another common mistake many preppers make is overinvesting in bulky or unnecessary tools that serve only one purpose or are impractical for real-world emergencies. These tactical gadgets might look impressive in online reviews or prepper expos, but they often end up collecting dust or, worse, failing when you actually need them. Multi-tools, survival shovels with 20 attachments, tactical pens with glass breakers, or even massive Rambo-style knives can all fall into this category if bought without careful thought. For instance, many people are drawn to multi-function tools that claim to do everything: saw wood, start fires, act as a weapon, dig trenches, and more. While these products sound appealing, the truth is, they rarely perform any of those tasks well. A tool that tries to do everything usually does nothing efficiently. You're far better off investing in a few high-quality, single-purpose tools you know how to use than a Swiss Army-style gimmick that breaks or disappoints in the field. Another example is buying high-end tactical gear like plate carriers, mall packs loaded with obscure pouches, or military-grade body armor. Unless you're part of an organized defense group or expect direct combat, which most people are not, this type of gear is unnecessary and takes up both money and space. Not only that, but it can draw unwanted attention in a real emergency when blending in is often a safer strategy. Generators are another item where people often overspend or fail to consider practicality. While having backup power is smart, many people buy giant gas-powered generators without thinking through fuel storage, noise, or portability. In a long-term grid-down scenario, keeping a generator running for days or weeks becomes unrealistic unless you have a solid fuel plan. A smaller solar generator with USB charging capabilities might be far more practical and sustainable for essential needs like lights or charging communication devices. Another trap is stocking up on overly complex water filtration systems. While clean water is non-negotiable, you don't always need a $500 gravity fed filtration tower or fancy UV sterilizers. In many situations, basic ceramic filters, purification tablets, and even DIY methods like boiling or using bleach can be equally effective. Start with the basics and expand your gear only once you've mastered using what you already have. And don't forget clothing. Many preppers go overboard buying military camouflage or tactical attire that screams prepper. In a real crisis, looking like a soldier might make you a target, not a survivor. Functional, durable civilian clothing that helps you blend into a crowd is often far more effective. Ultimately, the best prepping tools are the ones that match your real-world environment, your physical abilities, and your actual plan, not a fantasy scenario from a movie. Always ask, is this tool durable, reliable, and practical for my situation? If not, you're better off saving your money and investing it into skills, training, or more essential supplies. Preparedness is about smart choices, not flashy gear. Another area where many preppers waste money is buying excessive quantities of low-quality food that no one in their household will actually eat. It's easy to fall into the trap of stockpiling mountains of canned goods, buckets of rice, or expensive freeze-dried meals simply because they have long shelf lives or come in survival packaging. But prepping isn't just about having food, it's about having the right food. Let's start with taste and nutrition. Many prepackaged survival foods are bland, heavily processed, and lack the necessary nutrients to sustain you during stressful times. If you're relying on these meals for days or weeks, poor nutrition will take a toll on your energy, mood, and immune system. Worse, some of these foods contain allergens, preservatives, or ingredients that certain family members can't even eat. What good is a 5-gallon bucket of powdered eggs if no one will touch it? Another common mistake is buying in bulk without rotating your stock. People often store stacks of canned food or dry goods in closets, garages, or basements, and then forget about them. Over time, labels fade, cans rust, and food spoils. Suddenly, you're left with hundreds of dollars worth of useless supplies. The smarter move is to build your stockpile with items you already eat regularly and use a first-in, first-out system to keep everything fresh. That way, your prep supplies double as part of your everyday pantry and nothing goes to waste. It's also a mistake to overlook cooking and preparation needs. You can have all the food in the world, but if you don't have a way to prepare it during a power outage, it won't help much. Stocking up on foods that require boiling, baking, or long cook times without a plan for off-grid cooking, like a propane stove, rocket stove, or solar oven, is a recipe for frustration. Think in terms of simplicity and versatility. peanut butter, canned soups, oats, trail mix, shelf-stable milk, and ready-to-eat meals are great low-effort options. Finally, people waste money on miracle food storage gadgets or overpriced food grade buckets and oxygen absorbers without understanding how to use them. Vacuum sealers, Mylar bags, and desiccants are great tools, but only if you've taken the time to learn proper storage techniques. Otherwise, you could find yourself with moldy rice or stale flour despite your best efforts. Prepping food doesn't have to be expensive or overwhelming. The goal is to build a realistic, sustainable supply that works for your diet, tastes, and situation. Buy what you eat what you store, and make sure your food preps are something your family can rely on, not just a pile of wasted money and good intentions sitting in a dusty corner. Being prepared means being smart, and smart prepping starts with what goes on your plate.